Hello students, this lesson is going to be about word formation. We're going to talk about how words are formed in the English language. We're going to talk about prefixes, root words, and suffixes. Word formation in English generally consists of three building blocks. The prefix comes first, the root word is the main part of the word, and the suffix comes at the end. For example, dis is a prefix, appear is the root word, and ants is the suffix. This is how we get disappearance. Re is the prefix, construct is the root word, and un is the suffix. So we have reconstruction. Un is the prefix, recognize is the root word, and able is the suffix. Unrecognizable. The root word contains the basic or core meaning of a word. It's the most general meaning of the word. But when we put the prefix in front, that often changes the meaning somehow. It changes it in different ways, and the suffix can also change it a little bit. Hundreds of roots are used to build thousands of different words in English. Most common, they are Greek and Latin. Here are some common root words that are used in English. Odd, which means to hear, ben, which means good, and so forth. Push pause on the video and read through these examples. Looking at prefixes and suffixes. The prefixes usually change the meaning of the word and make it more specific. So if you have un in front of pleasant, that changes and makes it the opposite of pleasant. It becomes unpleasant. If you have inter in front of active, that changes the meaning and you get interactive. Suffixes usually change the part of speech. So if you have the word pleasant and you add an ly at the end, pleasant was an adjective, but when you add that ly, it becomes an adverb, pleasantly. Here, you can take the word act, which is a verb, and you add ive at the end, and you get the word active, which is now an adjective. Here are some examples of prefixes that make the word either negative or positive. In this case, we don't mean negative and positive, meaning bad and good. We simply mean that negative takes the word and makes it the opposite of its meaning, and positive keeps it the same but makes it more of its meaning. That's all we mean by that. But when we take these prefixes and put them in front of root words, we get the opposite of the root. So function, we put mal in front of it and it becomes malfunction, which means it doesn't function. Same thing with agree, we put dis in front of it, it's the opposite of agree. When we put re in front of these words, then it becomes the same thing, only more. So you don't just organize, you reorganize. Or if you put over in front, you don't just load, you overload. Take a minute, push pause, and look through these examples carefully. Prefixes of size can be put in front of a word to emphasize the size. So semi means half, equi means equal, mini and micro means small, and macro and mega mean big. Take a minute to look through the examples. We have prefixes of location that tell us where something is. So inter could mean between. We have international, which means between nations. Intra, which means within. Super, meaning over. Let's skip down here to ex, which means out. Exclude means to leave something out. Sub, which means under. Submarine means under the ocean, and so forth. Go ahead and push pause and look over these examples. Here are prefixes of time and order. So ante, a prefix that means before something, and pre also means before. Prime means first. Post means after. And retro means backwards. Take a good look at these examples. And then we have prefixes of number. So when this prefix comes first, it means half. A semicircle is a half of a circle. Mono and uni mean one. Bi means two, so does duo, and so forth. If you look down here, you see oct means 8. An octopus has 8 legs. Cent means 100. A century is 100 years. Go ahead and push pause and look through these examples. Other common prefixes that come before lots of different words. Pro, meaning before. Auto, meaning self. Co, con, sin, and sim, meaning with. You will see lots of English words that start with these prefixes, and if you know their meaning, it can help you understand the meaning of the words. Now let's look at suffixes. Suffixes come at the end of a word, and generally speaking, the suffix changes the word form into either a noun, a verb, an adjective, or an adverb. So noun-forming suffixes make the words into nouns. You look at these suffixes that come at the end of words. Generally speaking, the word is a noun. Push pause and look through these examples. Verb-forming suffixes come at the end of the word and make the word into a verb. So if you see IZE or ISE at the end of the word, computerize means to make something into a computer, or organize means to make something into different compartments, and so forth. Take a minute to look through the rest of these examples. Here are adjective-forming suffixes. So when you see these endings at the end of a word, generally speaking, except for this one, which is also borrowed by verbs in a different context, but generally speaking, these endings make adjectives. So full, meaning full of, helpful means full of help, or joyful means full of joy, and so forth. Ish means like, so someone who is childish is someone who is like a child. Go ahead, push pause, and look through the rest of these examples. And lastly, we have the adverb-forming suffixes, where we add an ly at the end, or ways at the end, or wise at the end. Now, generally speaking, when we add the ly, sometimes we also have to add an ally to make it into a proper adverb. And generally speaking, the first part of the word is an adjective. So we start with an adjective and then we add the ally. So electronic was an adjective. We add this to the end and we get electronically, which is an adverb. Here we have logical, which was an adjective. We add just another ly to the end and we get logically, which is an adverb. And here we had helpful, which was an adjective, and then we added ly to the end of that and we got helpfully. Go ahead and look over the rest of these examples. And now you have come to the end of our lesson on word formation.